Hello, hello. Welcome to our live stream. I'm Rachel Archelaus, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy. And this is Carrie Roldan, your business BFF. And today we're talking about something maybe a little random if you're not like super into the whole Abraham Hicks world. Today we're talking about how to change your momentum.
Right.
I love living in ease and flow and expecting good things to happen and being able to relax in my life and not waiting for the other shoe to drop, so they say. I like calm, I like consistent. I like to be the one to add a little spontaneity. I don't love my life adding the spontaneity for me. So that's what I prefer, right? Good, smooth, positive momentum. But sometimes if we get something in our heads that we just keep going back to, or life does throw us a curveball and we kind of fixate on it, or we're up leveling and we notice some baggage that has been dropped off, we can alter our momentum. If we've been in a depression, like there are lots of reasons why we could have some negative momentum going, and it will feel like a tug of war with ourselves to try to find some calm relaxation. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and hopefully give you some tips to get back to ease, get back to flow, get back to who you really are, because life is so much better like that. So Carrie, hello.
So I feel like today is specifically for me. And even I was thinking about how to shift your momentum. And right before this call, I opened an email that shifted my momentum and not in a good way. Like, anyways, I think this conversation is going to be perfect because I think Abraham Hicks talks about this, like, you know, if you don't think words can change your momentum. I don't remember how it is, but basically they talk about this exact scenario when you open an email and suddenly like there's like something stabbing you in the gut. So hey, I'm here and I'm your perfect example of exactly how to do this. Um, so yeah, I'm in it. Like I have a story I'm telling myself in a way I'm choosing to respond, but yeah, guinea pig right here. So here we go.
I love it. So hello, Dale. Hello, Guillaume. Thank you so much for saying you're here and commenting. For the rest of you, we'd love to hear from you too. If you have questions, you want to say hello, put it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, hello, thanks for coming. Feel free to comment below if you want to engage with us. I'll be able to see all your comments and reply. And yeah, okay. So first of all, what is momentum, right? Abraham always uses the example of a train. You can't just hit the brakes on a train that's going really fast and have it stop completely, right? It has to slow down. You have to use that friction of the contact to the rails to slow it down gradually. If you've ever stopped your car really fast, you'll know that too. You don't just stop right where you are if you're going fast, or if the road is slick, right? You're going to slide a little bit. And so our energy has force, right? We're going. And we can't just abruptly change directions if we've got any kind of speed to our life. And the reason why positive momentum feels so good, right? You're on vacation, you're relaxing, you finally get into the groove, right? It takes a few days to actually relax, right? Because there's momentum. But when you get there, you actually are feeling your truth. Your truth is positive momentum. 99.999% of your big multidimensional self is only positive all the time. And so when you can sync up with that and harmonize with yourself, with your truth, you're going to feel amazing because you finally connected to who you really are, right? Your higher self gets to just do its job. You're receiving in real time. Synchronicity is happening. You're feeling joy. People are calling you at the right time. Everything's great, right? Isn't that where we want to be? Yeah, that's where we deserve to be. That's who we really are. But we have the ability to look away from who we really are at any time because we have free will. And we've chosen to live in an environment that offers us contrast, right? And so we do it. We do it all the time. I do it all the time where I choose to look at something that doesn't feel good, or I witness something that doesn't feel good, or I imagine something that doesn't feel good for various reasons, right? That's really what we're used to growing up. We're used to living by default. We don't realize we have any control over what we feel or where we look, or that there's such a thing as positive momentum versus negative momentum, where we just live like this all the time. And so this is really, if this is your first time hearing about this, it's good to know you can choose a momentum and you can do your best to stick to a positive momentum. And I'm assuming that most of you here are already doing that. And so I just wanted to give you all a primer in case this is a new concept to you. But from now on, we'll probably just talk about, like, okay, we all assume we want to feel good. And how can we feel better faster when we've encountered something like Carrie encountered today? Like, she opened an email, but she froze and she didn't feel good. So how do we rebound from that? Yeah. All right. Do you want to tell us more, Carrie, or do you want to take anything I just said?
Well, so there's something that you just said that I'm afraid I might go down a rabbit hole a little bit, but I was thinking, I was reading Breaking the Habit of Being Ourselves. And one of the things it talks about is like that we can be like addicted to our response, right? So like if you're someone who's perpetually negative, there you actually have like a chemical addiction to those negative thoughts. Like your body's just used to responding in a certain way. So when you were talking this morning, like 4 seconds ago, when you were talking about this happens when you're in the middle of an up level, right? Like I am acutely aware of that. Like I have become aware of a couple of areas in my life where like I was in this place of like, well, that's just how it is, or like thinking and wanting more, wanting better. And so anyways, I'm in this moment where I don't know if I'm just like, this is my like natural addicted response until I train myself a different way. But yeah, that's what I'm in it, Rachel. I'm so in it, especially because it like literally just happened where I was like, and luckily I was like, okay, I can't respond to this email right this red hot minute, right? Because my initial reaction is like defensiveness and anger and fear and some unworthiness. Like that's all sort of tied up in my initial response. And like there's this thing, right, which I'm sure a lot of you are here. I want to relax about it, and that seems irresponsible. Like that seems like I'm actually just looking away while the problem gets bigger. So help me.
Yeah. Well, first, I want to talk about the idea of being addicted, because that, yes, we always have a physical manifestation for every vibrational manifestation, right? Every vibration, thought, emotion comes down to the physical level and causes an equal manifestation, right? And so, yes, our inner body chemistry changes, right, based on how we feel. But I just want to soften it a little bit too, because a belief is just a thought you continue to think, and an addiction is just a behavior you continue to do, right? Like, I have been addicted to lots of things in my life, right? I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to drink coffee. I used to be addicted to exercise when I was younger, and I would do it twice a day. And if I didn't do it, I would lose my mind, right? So we can we have just as much control over our addictions as we do our focus of where we're looking, right? So I just want to soften that a little bit, because we never want to give up our own control over ourselves, right? People get addicted to things and then they get unaddicted to things. And though there's varying degrees of ease with that, it's very possible to do. So, okay, we're in control of ourselves, even if it doesn't feel like it, because momentum can be very strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sneaky, because here's the thing, Rachel, I felt like I had really shifted the momentum. So, like, intellectually, I'm like, "Oh, this is a little wobble. This is a hiccup." But there's this whole, like, physiological thing inside of me that's like, "Oh my god, panic alert, worst possible scenario, obsess over this for several days." Like, that's also happening.
So, okay. I just want to say that if you really, really, really want the best chance of having a smooth sailing, positive momentum life, it most likely needs to include meditation, because meditation is one of the only things that will chop off the momentum for a time. Because when you do the kind of like white noise, disembodied meditation that Abraham talks about, you are becoming one with your higher self, right? When you reach that point of like your body becoming fuzzy, I know that Joe Dispenza talks about that too. He has you meditate until you're in the space, the void, right? Same thing. Although his meditations are really weird. I can't really listen to them.
Yells. Like, he's, like, screaming at me to relax.
I can't do it. Yeah, I try, but I can't. But the premise is the same, right? You get into the void, you become disembodied, you become one with non-physical, right? That releases you from the physical manifestation of things in that time. You become one with your higher vibrational self. And that does wonders for stopping that negative momentum, right? And just helping you continue your positive momentum. Because if we can disengage from the physical, there's no longer a part of you that's negative, right? So that's huge. So meditation, huge. And not any get meditation, that disembodied, becoming one with your non-physical kind of meditation, right? Listening to white noise, listening to your breath, whatever can help you fizzle out, if you know what I mean. So that's number one, right? It's not that momentum is sneaky, it's that we don't recognize the momentum that we're on. The other thing to notice is that when you are triggered, see it as a gift as much as you can, right? It's difficult in the moment. We're all frazzled up. But if you can see it as a gift, oh, that was already inside of me. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize I still had that panic in me. I didn't realize I had that freak out in me. Oh my gosh, this is great. Whatever is happening is helping me dislodge that thing that I've been carrying around. That's going to happen this year. That's going to happen. We're all going to be specifically triggered more than ever so that we can dislodge all the baggage that we've been carrying around, because it's not present where we want to go, right? We're not going to be our, rich millionaire Kardashian selves with the panic, right? That's not the goal. We want to be happy. We want to be relaxed. We want to be successful. So anything that's helping us dislodge that crap is good. But after that, then all we can do is choose to feel better. I'm going to choose to feel better. I know that there's panic in me. I know there's hormones racing through my body. I know I can't act right now. I know I can't do something right now. But what I do know is that solutions come from higher vibrational places, and that there's a solution there waiting for me. And if I can feel worthy enough to feel better, then I can access that solution. But I can't do it right now. And so it's not irresponsible to wait. It's more than responsible to wait because the solution isn't present with the panic. The solution is present up there where you actually want to be. So, what can I do in the meantime? Do I need to take a nap? Do I need to disengage? Do I need to watch a comedy? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to call a friend? What do I need to do right now to help me feel better?
So you guys, Rachel's not telling me anything that I don't know. Anything that I wouldn't actually tell a client isn't, and as I am experiencing this, like just talking about meditating, like already my body feels relief, right? Like, so, and I did take a nap this morning, but I got the email after I took the nap. Um, so, um, but there is this yes and thing going on with me where I'm like, yeah, but. So I guess it's not a yes and, it's a full yeah, but. Because I'm feeling like sometimes, so I guess there's a like getting very honest with myself about what would make me feel better. Because like the things that you suggested, those things make me feel guilty, right? Like what I know I need to be doing is dealing with this or finding like there's something. So I this is where I'm feeling right now. Like as you're talking to me, I'm still like crafting responses in my head to to how I need to respond to this email or um and simultaneously wanting to avoid it altogether. Um but there's something in me that says like, but if I do what would make me feel better now, it's actually gonna hurt me in the long run. If I do what would make me if I just avoid, right? Um, I'm not facing reality. As I'm saying this, I hear the bullshit in myself. And yet, like total disclosure, like it feels really real, right? And there's also this simultaneous fear, and maybe you guys can relate to this, of when you said, but you want to be happy, but I also want certain conditions to be present. And there's some sort of belief that um, if I if I really say yes to my higher self, it's not going to let me have both. It's not going to let me, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of that going on. So anyways, I recognize the truth in everything you're saying. I 100% know. Probably after this call, Rachel and I will chat a little bit after this call, and then I will meditate. And like the fear is real. The fear is real. Like there's some strong momentum. That there's some strong momentum. I've been talking about this in another group. Rachel and I were talking about it, where I was saying I feel like I have my feet in two different realities, right? And there's a little bit of conflict in my head. So I know those of you here can relate to this. There's a little bit of conflict in my head, which is like, do I believe the real reality, which hasn't manifested yet, right? Well, it's manifested in the sense of feelings, but it's not like in my bank account or in my current time space reality. Or do I believe the reality that's right in front of me? And this feels like a little bit of a whiplash moment. Like, oh, I felt like I was leaning into my true reality, and then um so yeah, so you guys are experiencing me knowing what to do, being resistant to doing it, holding on to like what I don't want. Like all of that is happening in real time right now. And I want to point it out because it happens to everybody. And at least with me, I tend to want to argue about it before I finally surrender to what I know I need to do. So here we are.
Yeah, so I just want to point out, and then Dale, you have an
Yeah.
awesome question. Who do you think is going to win in an arm wrestling match? You or your higher self?
I really hope it's my higher self.
So that's really what you're saying right now is like, I want to win that arm wrestling match because I think I'm more capable of creating the circumstances that I want than my higher self. But we know that that's not true because your higher self is creating everything. And the more you allow yourself to be your higher self, which of course you've got to match it in order to be it, the more you actually get to live what you want to live. And so I know that there's a struggle sometimes and a fight, but we always lose. We always lose because ultimately we do. We want to feel good. And when we feel good, we get to have what we want. That's just
Yeah.
how it works. I know.
Ugh, so crazy. So, right, what I would, if it wasn't me in this scenario, right, what I would be telling me is what you said, right? When you are triggered, see it as a gift, right? Remember, you know what you've asked for. Like, remember what you asked for? So everything that is happening is that coming to you, even this, even this. Um, and it is funny. I think sure I've said it on this channel, like if I can remember that, okay, now I'm gonna butcher it. But if I can remember that it's like it is certain, it is done, then whatever shows up, I can totally relax about it because I already know everything's fine. It's all working out. This is part of this is part of how it works out. Um, and there's no need for the panic or the whiplash. And yet there's a little momentum causing me to panic and whiplash. And if I can look back on my own life experience, which by the way, what I'm currently doing is soothing myself, right? If I look back on my own life experience, I go, how many times have I felt this panic before? This what if? Oh my God, no. And then it works out, right? It's better than I could have, like, it's always working out. So I do know that. And I think that's maybe important for all of us to recognize, like, which truth do I want to believe? The truth that the sky is falling or the truth that everything is working out? And I would prefer to believe the truth that everything is working out. So it's helpful for me to view this as a passing storm in that like it's, it's pretty real. There's it feels scary, but we're safe here. Like everything's fine. This too shall pass and there will be a sunny day, and I think in this moment that is helpful for me to remember like I often with clients will talk about believing what you believe. Like, oh, these like acts of faith. Oh, that's this right now. I know what I believe about this. So let's choose to believe it. So there we go. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, silent witnesses.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, that self-soothing piece is so important. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's what gets me through a lot.
for me, like different people do this differently, but like it's super helpful for me to do that out loud.
Mhm.
So what will happen for me is that I'll let things rattle around inside and it's not soothing. And then if I can just get it out of my body. I just saw a Mel Robbins video on this morning, like super important to say things out loud or write them down or take some sort of physical action, which kind of goes against like often, I mean, not really, but it seemingly goes against what you and I talk about, right? Which is just like shift the way that you feel. But those things help shift the way that you feel. It's hard to think yourself into, at least for me, it's hard to think myself into a better feeling without also verbalizing, writing it down, doing something. So there we go.
I think it's different for everyone, you know? I mean, for some people, that's probably important.
Yeah. Should we look at Dale's question?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Dale says, can you please talk about feeling content and relaxed, Sometimes it feels like it's important to stay high, how to relax and not be afraid I'm not moving forward or possibly even backwards. I'm just going to breathe for you in that because, okay, taking that. You're trying too hard. You're just trying too hard. Okay, so anything above satisfaction is just a bonus. It's a bonus. Like, you are in positive momentum if you're feeling content, which means you're not in the way. You're not in the way of your higher self delivering things to you. You're not in the way of receiving your intuition. You're not in the way of allowing. So, content is great, great. Relaxed, chef's kiss to relaxed. Okay. Amazing, amazing, renewing, right? Very peaceful, very sumptuous. We want to be relaxed and content. And then the momentum can pick up. You can get excited, you can get exhilarated, you can get frisky, you can get whatever you want, right? But think of relaxed and content as home base, right? Home base, safety, wondrous life to be lived, right? Receiving those daydreams. So let it happen naturally, right? So you can't move backwards ever, first of all. You can put your hands up and block stuff if you're not feeling good, if you're not connected, but you're not ever going to go backwards. So you don't have to worry about that. And you're always moving forward if you're feeling good, right? It doesn't need to be on all the time. That happens naturally, right? The train will pick up speed as you relax and allow things naturally to come in, but you don't want to have to force it, right? Because that actually doesn't feel good.
I used to think that too, like I had to feel excited all the time in order to be creating, but it was exhausting. And if we're going to use the train analogy, right? Like, or running, or like I'm thinking about, like, there's this excitement in a race. I'm going to use running, right? When the gun goes off, and um we'll take the 100 meters. When the gun goes off and there's like this excited, fast, get out energy. And I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, in this case, they're running their hardest, but there's like this super high feeling. But the person who wins the race in the 100 meters isn't necessarily the one who has the fastest top end speed. They're just the one that slows down the least, because everyone, once they get to 30 meters, is going to slow down. I realize I'm talking running now, but go with me. So it's just about like taking that excitement, right? There's some excitement, and then it's taken you to this new level, and now you glide. So if we're going to use the train, right, they're like building up speed, and now they're comfortable, and you're comfortable and relaxed at a higher speed than you've ever been before. And you get comfortable and relaxed at that speed until you get your next burst of excitement when you decide to climb a hill, or you decide, right, and then you're comfortable and relaxed at the next speed, and you're comfortable and relaxed in the next speed. But that really, I don't know if it's helpful for you, but it really helped me to recognize, like, I don't have to be constantly excited, right? But I can ride the excitement and let it take me, because each time I allow myself to feel good. And if that is also, there's a whole thing for me about, and maybe for other people, I felt like I had to be excited all the time, but excitement and anxiety were very closely linked in me. And so I had anxiety about being excited. And so like finding like a smooth ride was better for me than trying to live in excitement. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give a little look into my own process right now because I basically I've talked about this before, but like last November, I kind of stopped doing a lot of things. I basically stopped working unless I already had something on the calendar. Like all my recurring meetings, like absolutely I'm there. Um, but I wasn't really making other videos. I wasn't like I haven't blogged in like 3 years, 4 years. Um, just was taking it easy. And there were a few times in there where I thought I was going to ramp up again. And I did a few things, but I didn't really ever ramp up. And then like 2 weeks ago, I told Carrie about this big idea that I had. And then I was like, I made some videos about it and I wasn't really inspired to edit them. And then when I really kind of got into the feeling, it felt like more work than I wanted to do at the time. And so I just backed off again because sometimes we'll have excitement that we'll receive from a should. Like there will be mixed vibrations going on within us. Maybe we are feeling excited, but we're also feeling like that's the only way we could do something. And so we're excited about that. And when we give ourselves space and time and contentment in between things, we can really feel where we were coming from. And so I just dropped that because I never force myself to do something, which is a great trait of mine that I've cultivated. What that allows me to do is go even higher and not higher in excitement, deeper in satisfaction, deeper in worthiness, deeper in contentment. Until yesterday, a lot of things lined up for me, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. And it clicked so hard that I was like, done. Absolutely done. Like it was so good. It's so good. And the whole thing came together so seamlessly. And I looked back and I was like, this is what I wanted to do when I moved to Phoenix. This is something I did a few years ago and I loved it. Like such a deep resonance because I gave myself absolutely tremendous space, not forcing myself into anything and ignoring an excited idea that I had because it didn't end up actually feeling that great in all the steps that I would need to take. And so momentum isn't just about constantly climbing in excitement, it's about deepening your contentment and your relaxation as well and trusting yourself, trusting your feelings over everything else, right? Even yourself, even you get something excited and then, you know what? It's not the thing. That's okay too.
And as I just saw your comment, Dale, but as we're talking about this, I'm thinking about my experience of you, Dale, is like deep contentment, deep relaxation. Whenever I think of you, Dale, there's a specific image that comes to mind, and it is you in a backyard hammock. And so I like that. I like that you are already that. You are like, that's already a thing for you. And so it is just about deepening. I'm gonna yawn.
Yeah, and I
Deepening.
just want to add too, like for Dale, this year I've really been heavily leaning into my gardening as part of my contentment and like really reveling in my life and getting all the juice out of my life that I can. And that's a quiet, solitary thing that I do, like there's really not a lot of hoopla, but I just, anytime I had that thought, Dale, of like, well, is there something else I should be doing? Because I have those once in a while too. I'm like, there is nothing better that I could be doing than having the time of my life outside, sitting on the ground watching that butterfly or smelling this rose for the 17th time today. Like, it's the tiny little things that you can allow yourself to enjoy. And if you can allow even more enjoyment in that thing, that's what's going to help you even more. It's allowing yourself to fully immerse yourself in whatever you're doing and retraining that thought of like, is there anything? Should I go be productive right now? Do what feels best. What feels best is the most productive thing you can do.
That's a good one. What feels best is the most productive thing you can do. I feel like that's really counterintuitive to the way a lot of people were brought up. So let's just drive that one home. That one got a yawn out of me.
I love it.
Shall we look at Guillaume's comment?
Yes, yes, so exciting. All right, so Guillaume says recently I sold 2 ebooks and it's the first time that I sold erotica. Woohoo! How to keep that momentum going so I can sell more ebooks. Well, first of all, congratulations. Guillaume is a prolific author, and we're so excited for you, Guillaume. Carrie, did you want to add something first?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and Guillaume, I'm guilty of this too, is um, why would we assume that the momentum would stop? Right? Like the momentum is happening. We have evidence of it right now. The train is moving in the direction that we want it to go. And so I'm super guilty of doing this thing too, which is like, oh no, but what if, or what, right? But recognizing like, where do I want to keep my focus? I want to keep my focus on more of this. I want to notice, I want to remember how good it felt to get that first sale. I want to be excited about the positive reviews that I'm getting. Whatever is coming in, right? Is choosing to keep my focus and or your focus, choosing to keep your focus on what's working, right? My momentum, celebrate. My momentum has finally shifted. I'm selling ebooks. I'm yawning for you, Guillaume. I have crested the hill and now I'm riding downhill and things are going smoothly and things are really happening for me now. Like choosing to look at that instead of look backward and be like, it was a really hard climb. So that's my advice.
Yes, bask, right? This is my new normal. I'm selling books. But also, a lot of times when something happens that we've been waiting for, right? When you're in a business and you make a big sale, you finally sell some books, something good happens to you. We can tend to then look at the manifestation and be fixated on that and actually stop things from moving ahead in the way we want because it also activates the not happening of it, right? So why do new entrepreneurs have this feast or famine thing sometimes? You have a really good month and then you have a really sucky month and you have a really good month and a really sucky month. It's because you are looking too much at the thing, the money, the book sold, the outcome. And that is two sides of the same thing. You sold books, sure, but you didn't sell any books before, or you're worried about selling more books, right? So the money came in, but you already spent it. And where's the next thing going to come from, right? So be happy, bask. If you can feel good about it, awesome. But if it in any way starts to cause anxiety, or you start to feel lack again, or you worry about where the next sales are coming from, how did this happen? What did you change? What did you change your walk schedule? Did you place more time for relaxation in your day? Did you finally start meditating? Like, what did you do to allow the thing? What thoughts were you thinking before? What actually changed in your life that allowed the new outcome, right? And it's going to be something that's internal where you felt better. So how did you help yourself feel better to allow the good outcome? That's how you'll build more momentum without triggering the lack. So bask as much as you can bask, and also just how did I do it? Figure that out, because then you're golden, right? Keep feeling better. Keep doing the things that helped you feel better, and it will continue.
Were you talking about, Rachel, was this the conversation about, I feel like it was you. Maybe we even had this conversation like a week ago, but about how so many people succeed after they've given up.
Yeah, I think we did talk about that, like the idea of surrendering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Guillaume, if that is what was going on for you, but this idea of like letting go of the try and just like, and then all of a sudden everything happens. So, Yeah, you don't need to try to keep your momentum going. It's it's going. So just remember how you felt, what you did to feel good and keep feeling good.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
painfully simple. And like Carrie showed at the beginning of the call, we hate that. We hate simple. We want it to be complicated. We want to have our, our little paws in everything. But we've done the work. My higher self tells me that all the time. You've already done the work. You've done it. You've done the work. And in fact, part of this thing that I've shifted out of, um, I guess I'll go here. So the thing I was going to do, the thing I was excited about was actually like bringing people on a journey of mine where we've talked about this before, this idea that your purpose is to like create your paradise on earth, like heaven on earth, right? And I'm I'm good at that. I was my favorite movie of all time is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? The first one. And I love Willy Wonka is my only role model in life, my only hero. He's the only person I've ever really looked up to besides my parents. Like I was never into like celebrities or sports people, They're incredible, but Willy Wonka, man, right? He created his paradise. He lived on his terms. He was still successful, A plus role model, right? And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing my whole life to varying degrees. And I just thought, gosh, this is the moment I'm in. I'm outside. I'm doing the things I want to do. I'm creating what I want to create. Like, let me take people on that journey and they can create their own paradise alongside, right? We could do it together. But even when I was filming the first video for that, I talked about how as teachers, we want to explain everything. We want to explain how we got there. We want to explain, and that is the thing that I can't do that anymore. I can't force that. I can't add that in. I don't want to explain myself. That's the last thing I want to do. And when I was saying it in the video, I felt the difference. I felt that I'm creating my paradise, and I felt that I'm teaching, I'm explaining. I can't do that anymore. And so this new thing, it doesn't have any of that. It just has pure fun, pure love, pure expression. And that's where I am at right now. That's more vibrationally accurate to where I am. And
Well,
so
and I'm
that,
gonna butt in what's also coming is ease.
yeah, ease, total
Sorry,
ease.
continue.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's just you can feel when you say things, right? Like Carrie's saying things is important. You can feel when you think things, you can feel when you write things. Does this really match up with me? You can get more discerning on the different vibrations of everything. Your thoughts, your actions, your motivations, your everyone around you, you can feel your way through life. And as you do that more, momentum gets easier because you're more aware of where you are and what you're bringing in. And if you have a high enough um, discernment of what you allow in, life can get better really fast because you are able to pick and choose what stays and what goes.
I'm just writing that down. I feel like I need that in this red hot minute. So, in case you didn't hear, guys, life can get better really fast. I think that's really important to remember. It's happened to me so many times, and yet I needed that reminder.
Yep.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So, where to? We talked about shifting momentum. You started talking about turning the train around, right? Recognizing that if you got momentum in one direction, you have to slow it down and then turn. Well, that's how Abraham talks about it. Like you have to let that momentum kind of run its course and slow down until you can like build it back up the other way. And it was interesting because when you were talking about that, I feel like my experience of it is a little less of a slowing down and a little more of a like, we've seen when if you try and stop a train too quickly or it crashes, how there's a zigzag effect that happens with the carts like piling up. That is more what happens to my momentum. I don't like, there's not a gentle slowdown. There's like I feel good. No, I feel bad. No, I feel good. No, I feel bad. Right? It's like carts going. It's the car is going in different directions until it all gets straightened out. And then what I like what you said is life can get better really fast, is remembering like once it gets all straightened out, I, my experience is it can be a bullet train in the opposite direction. Like the that the experience of having mixed vibrations is normal. It like I wish I didn't do it, but I do it. But remembering that it can get better really fast smooths out the mixed vibrations pretty quickly. So, yeah. Anyways, I started to just say like, okay, we were talking about how to shift momentum. For me, it's often perspective, 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 which is get above the problem, right? Get out of the mix, get above the problem, connect with your higher self, meditate, get to the place from, I mean, if I'm going straight analogy, it'd be like from where I could see the solution, but really it's about where I can receive the solution. That was just a recap, I guess.
Yeah, that felt really good. Yeah. Elevate until you can receive. Avoid until you can receive. I mean, there's no point in acting from a place that doesn't feel good because you're not going to create anything that feels good, right? I just had this conversation with a client yesterday who felt bad about not being farther ahead, but they were going through a lot of really heavy stuff in the last few years. And their time was better spent taking care of themselves. And if they had acted from that place of depression, they wouldn't have created anything lasting. They wouldn't have created anything that they would now feel is worthy of their time and continuing. So they would now just be cleaning up old momentum. Instead, they chose to care for themselves and do the best they could. And now, from a better, cleaner, higher place, they can create their dreams really easily. And so, you're never wrong. And if right now isn't isn't a time to act and create your paradise and go for it and all that, that's great. What is it time for? Is it time for lots of rest? Is it time for building up that first sense of worthiness? Is it time for soothing as much as you can, right? Like you'll know what is it that would really help me feel better. And maybe you're in the foundation stage, right? And you're not in the like me stage. I'm going out and creating things. And I have to say, I'm only very recently in this new go out and create state. I just spent 7 months in the resting stage, right? And so give yourself as much time as you need to find the yes, absolutely this click into place thing. It's worth it to take your time.
That was a big exhale. That was a really big exhale. I hope you guys are experiencing it too. I hope that just being here, this is an interesting sensation I'm feeling, Rachel. I'm super curious if you guys watching are feeling it too, because I feel like being stretched in both, like I'm elevating and grounding at the same time. Like it's a nice feeling to have. Um, I have no words. That's happening a lot on these calls. Have you noticed?
Yes. I love it. Yeah, because we're getting there, right? We're getting to the heart of ourselves. We're not making ourselves wrong. There's nothing to resist. So we're content, right? We got to content. And I don't have it out in front of me, but I did a drawing about how do we experience unconditional wealth? Unconditional wealth. Think about that. Unconditional wealth. We get to do whatever we want. Whatever we want. Unconditional wealth, right? There were two colors in it. There was grounding and there was contentment. Feeling content along your day. It was like this shape of a bush, pure contentment. Dale put it great. Full immersion presence. You're in your day. You're feeling good, right? And then there was brown and grounding, and it was like filling out the branches. So, like the branches of the bush were grounding, the outer leaves of the bush was contentment. That's it. Painfully simple. Painfully simple. Be content in your life, and the manifestation will come. It's the truth. And when you then get to the point of action, it will be really easy because the vibration that you've been building has already done all the work. And you just get to keep receiving the ideas. And that feels fun. That feels fast. So you'll also learn everything you need to learn along the way, which is great. Everything's handed to you. Everything comes to you, but you got to let it. You have to let it happen. That's our job. Our job is allowing. And we can do that simply by feeling content, which is great.
Something's coming to me as you're talking about that, and that is at least what I've been experiencing, right? There's a great big fear of like the rug being pulled out. And so what I like about what you said about like my whole world could go to disaster in an instant. But what I like about what you said is like, and the opposite is true. and I tend to forget about like, oh, also everything could get really good really fast. And that helps me find contentment. Helps me
Yeah.
relax.
Besides the fact that, I used to talk about Tim Ferriss's fear setting a lot because when you have a lot of negative thoughts in your head, swirling around, building momentum, like that's not helping you, right? Because if you're just imagining what could happen, the worst thing that can happen over and over and over again, you're really building some strong momentum there. But if you can actually get back to, okay, what would actually happen really if that thing did come true? Write it down. What would happen? How would you handle it? Make a plan. What would we do? Do we have enough savings to cover something like that? Would I have to go get a job? Can I call this person and, pick up some freelance work? Like, what would actually need to happen if the thing that I'm afraid of came true? And can I handle it? And how can I handle it? It just gets it out of your head. It's so important, like people starting businesses. You don't want to start a business with a whole bunch of fears in your head. You know what I mean? Like, write it down. Do you have enough money to carry you for a while? Do you need to keep your job? Do you need to get a part-time job? Like, I'm only bringing this up because I deal with a lot of people who are in that stage of their life. But fear setting can be used in any application, going away for 2 weeks instead of 1 week. You've never done that before. Like, what's that going to do? Or you are thinking about getting into a new relationship or getting out of a relationship or moving, or you know what I mean? So if you have that kind of loop going on in your head, get it down on paper and ask yourself, okay, in reality, this happened. What would I do? Because then it can stop you from ruminating, right? It's not actually going to make your momentum worse. It's going to make your momentum better because you actually aren't worried about it anymore because you've dealt with the worry.
That's such good advice, and it seems counterintuitive to the things that we often talk about here, right? But I don't think I've ever heard you talk about it. I mean, I do that, right? What's the worst that can happen? Well, let's go there. Let's right because it
Yeah.
does help you feel better
Mhm.
when you let that out. But it's an interesting way, an interesting approach to changing momentum because you're stopping the like the spinning in the head. Um yeah, it's not something I would have thought that you would talk about, Rachel. So I that's a good one.
Yeah, I really like Tim Ferriss. He has a lot of good things to say, and he does have a TED talk on that, so you can search that if you want to hear his whole explanation of everything. But what I just told you in a nutshell is basically everything.
So you don't need to do it. You can just listen to Rachel. Well, guys, how are you feeling about all of this? Like, where is your momentum? I would say that I came to this call with like a knife in my stomach, right? Like some pretty like terror driven momentum. And just in the time that we've spent together, I am not I am not Dale feeling high. Like I'm not. Um, but I feel the shift in momentum, right? I recognize I'm on the right path. I feel soothed. I know I'm on my way to contentment. I know and there is contentment in knowing that I'm on my way to contentment, if that makes sense. Um, and so I'm just super curious where you are. I'm oh goodness, yawning for you, Guillaume. Every time I look at Guillaume's comment, I yawn, and it's not because it's boring. It's because it's because there's good stuff there. So, yeah, I'm just super curious, guys. Are you feeling a shift in momentum? Are you feeling grounded and content? Are you leaning into unconditional wealth?
I am. I am big time. I love the feeling of grounded and expanded. I love that. And that's who we are, right? We're having our point of focus here on this planet together, but we're also gigantic multidimensional beings who are creating our experience right now. And so we can do both. And it's actually, I think, when we feel most at home in ourselves.
I like that.
Mhm.
And Guillaume, I'm glad you are feeling the shift.
Yes, yes. Thanks for being here with us. And thanks for
You're
sharing your good news with us.
That's what I was gonna say. Your life can get a lot better really fast.
Yeah. Okay,
Hmm.
everyone. We're there. Can't believe it.
I know.
If you want to join us for more great times like this, and one-on-one in a group setting, then go to intuitiveart.com/membership and join our group coaching. This is exactly what we do, but just more personalized. And you get to bring up the topics and we get to flow from there and you get to ask your own questions. So we'd love to see you over there if you want to join us, intuitiveart.com/membership. And Carrie, I am actually going to be on vacation next week, so I won't be here, and I'm assuming Carrie won't be here either. But we'll see you the week after. I will be hiking my heart out in the Tetons.
I think the week after, I have to double check. I think I'm on vacation the week after, so it might be solo Rachel, but those are always good too.
Yeah, or we can get a guest. So
Yes.
love it. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. We welcome your comments, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.